Clear. This is three. Here is okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome level 6 to our class. We're already streaming live. And by the way, you're welcome to sit on one of these desks up here. I know if you want a place to sit down, you can also sit down here. I usually teach level 8, so this is your future.
Yes.
All right. So I'm live streaming it, and I told the students earlier, if you prefer not to be on camera, I'll just cover this up. So I don't want you to be filled with dread if you don't want your face on the internet someday, and it will happen. All right, y'all. The debate we're having today is this. You see it on your little survey there. Separate schools is more single-sex education is more beneficial for students overall. I should phrase that better, I suppose. Anyway, we're going to be debating. All girls schools and all boys schools. This team over here is going to be arguing, yes, that's more beneficial for students overall. Maybe some of you had the experience of going to an all-boys school and an all-girls school. I don't know. Maybe you have opinions about that. All right. And of course, maybe most of you probably went to an integrated or co-ed school, and that's what we're going to be making a case for, more or less. As you guys are listening to the debate, think about which side made the better argument. Not necessarily which side you personally agree with. All boys schools are better. And I was going to say no. Okay. So you folks are going to have a total of 7 minutes. Who's going to speak? Is it you? All right. All right. Give them a hand, everybody. Woohoo! This is all right.
Okay, so today I will tell you why single-sex school is way better for your children or the future. So, you know what's the problem with the traditional schools? Is that there's no boundaries. Girls and boys, they stay together, they do stuff together. Well, it will lead to the limits of what your child can do. Imagine that your schools says, oh, no, you cannot learn football because you cannot compete with a boy. How does that make your child feel? So today, I'll tell you why single-sex school is better. First, the teaching method is oriented to your children, which means your child can learn whatever they want. There's no genders between boys can learn math and girls can learn drawing. There's no such thing. Now boys can learn arts just like everybody else. If girls can learn football, if she wants to be a football player, that makes sense. And the next thing is that there's no distractions in study. Imagine a boys and a girl sitting in one desk. My mom would kill me if there's a girl sitting next to me. Well, unless the teacher told my mom. But then she would say, oh, you better not touching her or do some goofy stuff, because she's next to you. I mean, I would never do that. And but my mom would never leave that off her mind. So I would always say, no, I don't do anything. But if you have the boy and the boy together, you don't have that kind of distraction in your mind. You can just stay there, learn, and go home. Your mom would think the same. And so the next thing is that it's encourage the non-traditional subjects. So boys can improve their ability to learn other stuff without the influence of the girls in their mind. Not like in the other way, but in the oh, there's a girl in my team, so I have to be careful. I have to do extra hard work. Or there's a girl in the opposite team, but I like her, so I'll be extra careful with her. Yeah, it's about competitions, but competition makes your child grow stronger. And because of that, it also gives the children a lot more confidence in learning subjects. So if you have a team that full of boys and you're the only girls in the teams, it makes you feel left out. Well, 90% of that happens. Some cases it's different. But like I say, if you're the only one who like the opposite gender of the rest of the team, which means that you feel less confident, you feel left out, and then you don't have the ability to make yourself shine like everybody else. So if you are the team for girls versus girls, everybody's equal. Nobody's teacher's favorites. Well, that also leads me to the thinking that if the school is single sex, should the teacher be also single sex? Well, that's the debate. So this means that it can also reduce stereotype. So because stereotyping is more, like I said earlier, that girls learn arts and boys learn math. Well, this bring the opposites. Your child can do anything that they want, and because of that they have stronger community bondings. So girls and girls together, boys and boys together, they are often fosters the communication skills better. So if you are a single parent and your child, for example, my daughters, I'm a single parent, and I have a daughter. Do I have enough skills to teach my daughters what skills she needs? No, not really, right? I'm busy because I'm a single parent. So imagine if I let her go to a single sex school. That's only for girls. Then she can learn the skill necessary for girls. And I don't have to do like extra hard work on researching what I need to do for her. So she also make friends, which I don't think I have the ability to do that because she's making friends with her desires. And she can learn skills like, at what her communities, or she chooses to. Well, I don't have anything to say about that either. So in overall, I think it is better for the academics outcomes for your children because there's no limit and there's no boundary what your child can learn. And she also has a community that she wanted to. But, and I don't have to do extra hard work to let her learn the skill necessary for her gender or his genders. Well, yes. Anything else you need to add?
So you may don't know some famous people that study in single schools, like Barack Obama, Bruce Willis, Cameron Diaz,
And Lady Gaga.
huh?
And Lady Gaga.
And Lady Gaga also. So there's not like only weird people can go to these schools or something. Yeah. What else can we add for that?
Yeah, like I say, if you go to single sex school, he or she could also be successful. It doesn't have to be like traditional schools. And I think it's the cheaper if you go to a single sex school. Consider that.
Okay. Stop that. Okay, cool, yeah. Yeah, we're done. Yeah, that's good. All right, y'all. So, if y'all want to know how this whole thing is structured, yeah, they have 7 minutes to make their opening arguments, and now this team will have 7 minutes, and in just a little bit, you guys are going to have 5 minutes to respond back to them, saying, hey, you're wrong at this point. You guys are going to have 5 minutes. And then at the end, you'll have 2 minutes at the end to do a summary. So 7 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes. All right, let's give them some confidence, huh? All right, let's give them some confidence as she comes up to the mic. Yay! It's hard getting in front of people. All right? You got it. Yes. All right. Okay. Anytime you like. Go right ahead.
So our team is going to disagree with Glenn. Single-sex educational is beneficial for students overall. First, because the single-sex educational lack of the preparation for the viewer. Because the viewer is not just segregated by boys and girls. Nowadays, the society becomes more society. But the student who study in the sex single educational school, you lack of experience interacting with the other gender. So this condition will prevent them from improving their social and communication skills, and even they need to make up for it in the future. And the second point I'm going to say is the single-sex education will reinforce the stereotype and also develop the homophobia, because there are some single-sex educational school will unconsciously convey a set of values like the boy is usually good at math and science and sports, and the girl are good at humanities and language. But what if the boy is bad in sports? What if the girl she hates language but loves science? In this condition, this kind of children will feel isolated and even worry about what if they will be isolated if they show who they really are. So, besides, in this condition, the school will probably lack some advanced technology and skills to support this kind of students. So, in other words, this kind of school is not comprehensive developed enough. So, but on the contrary, the co-educational school can treat all the students equally and provide them the same opportunities to develop their own interests and provide the same opportunities for them.
Okay, now I'm going to mention a little bit about how the academic performance isn't directly related with the educational method that you're choosing. It doesn't matter if it's just girls or just boys. It doesn't mean that they're going to get a better education. What I can say is that there is a study released by UW Madison's Wisconsin Center for Education Researchers, where they can prove by a study that they made with high school students that those students that are in direct interaction with the other gender actually demonstrate a better performance. They got better grades, they learn more because they have another gender to compare, to make a comparison of their ideas. They are learning from a different person, from a different gender, with a different brain, with a different thoughts. And this study was made for Savannah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Now we're going to talk about the social and emotional development. This information is from SHOP, who is affiliated with the UC Irving School of Medicine. I am showing here some of the developments and milestones that the child and teenagers develop during these ages, which is the one that we're talking about right now. You can tell how the biggest development of a child is during the elementary and high school. There is when they learn how to interact with other people. If you are isolating them from a different gender, they won't learn how to relate it with them. And as a matter of fact, in the real world, there's not a company just for women. There's not a company just for men. In the real world, you will need to interact with a different gender. You will need to fight for that job. You will need to prove that you both are equal. There is not a special treatment, or there is not a special place in the real world to separate both genders. And the last one is that you will also develop a better conflict resolution skills. Because, again, you are not just competing with a woman that thinks like you, that you know how she's thinking, that you know that the emotions of her, or that you think that you know her. No, you're gonna compete with a man, with different perspectives, with different ideas. How we want kids that are strong, that are brave, and that know that my value as a woman is the same value as any man. I don't deserve a special treatment. I don't deserve a special sport. There's sports in the schools, yes. And in that same sport, there's two different teams, one for women and one for men, especially because this is physical. It's physical activity. But you don't need to go at a school with a special academic lessons for girls. You need to go to a school that will prepare you as the same that they will prepare the boys. If you need a special treatment, well, good luck, because in the real world you won't have it. Again, there's no companies, there's no works, there's no jobs that they will say, oh, you're a woman, oh, okay, sorry. No, you can go to company A, because in that company it's just for women. We are accepting just men. That's not the real world. The real world is constant interaction with the other gender. And we want our kids to be prepared for that. Thank you.
Oh, all right. So that was the opening remarks. And you're probably thinking, oh no, when I come to level 8, I got to speak for 7 minutes. You'll be surprised how easy it is to speak for. Yeah, 7 minutes. Y'all did it all. But so, okay. First off, I'll just make some comments. Well, it's still fresh in my brain and stuff. Hey, I liked your, you're very, conversational and relatable style. It's oftentimes very persuasive when you incorporate anecdotal evidence, like what you were saying about like your daughter, and even injecting humor, etc. to ingratiate. Sure. And you know what? Even though is it worthwhile to know that celebrities? Hey, it caught my attention. Hey, you're making an interesting point. Maybe people think it's kind of a strange thing. Well, it's not that strange. People that you otherwise love and celebrate, have gone to single-sex education schools, and I'll comment, boy, you guys did a great job citing research, making interesting. Both sides are making the point that my school is going to avoid stereotypes. My school is going to avoid stereotypes. Both y'all making that same point. Okay. Now we're open to the second part of the debate. You folks are going to have 5 minutes to respond back to the things that they were saying. And by the way, you folks in the audience, if you have some questions, start thinking of them, because at the end I'll open it up for questions. Okay, let's give them a hand. Woohoo! Okay, that's you. All right. Yes, sir.
Hello. Obviously, Esmeralda win with a very support argument. But however, the single-sex schools can provide tailored teaching styles, especially for what the parents want to their children. For example, when you mix boys and girls, especially when they are in the first years of the schools, it's very common to have social pressure, because when the boys are have more physical activities and have more differential behavior, sometimes the girls begins to reserve their arguments, they volunteer to expose her own ideas. When you have different protocols, different manners to handle the education, could be better, because you are right, Esmeralda. You can prepare the children for a real world and using differential education. For example, the roles when you that you have developed during the school Usually, in the mixed school, you say boys normally do this, and the girls normally do that. However, when you have differential in a single sex school, the boys can take the challenge to do or to develop roles that usually are for girls. But in a mixed school, they are not going to do that. Why? Because they will feel that that is not normal behavior for a boy. And the same with the girls. The girls maybe want to do something that is normally the same for a boy. And the girl should say, no way, I'm not going to try that because this is for boys and could not be good for my image. Additionally, there is a stereotype about the machismo. Do you all understand what is the meaning of machismo? No?
Is the same word in English?
Yep, it is.
Oh, I didn't know.
We do.
It's the same
Macho.
Is when the male take advantage of some behaviors. However, when you educate your daughter or your son in a different schools, that is not a condition to promote machismo. I study in a mixed school. My daughter studied in a female school. And believe me, she has better skills in social behavior than me. And now she is the manager of the human resources in a real life company, Visa, the credit card
Credit card.
company.
Oh, very nice.
So
That time.
it's not exclusive.
Got it. All right, I'll let you finish your point there. Okay, cool. Hey, great job. Yeah, give me a hand. Wow. Okay, so now y'all have 5 minutes to, counter argue. Yeah, cover it up. You got it. Yeah, no problem. Seen and not heard.
So the opponent just mentioned a couple points. The first one is he says there's no boundaries in the co-educational school, but I would prefer to say they can learn how to set the boundaries while they're interacting with the opposite gender. So, and the second point he mentioned about is the distraction, and they will probably influenced by the opposite gender. But I can say in the co-educational school, this kind of situation can help them to improve their motivation, because boys are always trying to show their best in front of the girls. Maybe he like. So this can better develop their motivation. And about the academic confidence and academic performance, I want to say the academic performance have many elements to impact this. And for example, it related to the teaching quality and the family background and the family support and the school resource. So it can't just be limited by the gender. So, and what's more, it related to the individual motivation. So the
Okay, our opponents mentioned a few words that kind of made noise in my brain. The first one was that the kid may feel left out. No, they won't. You're presenting a kid with a challenge. Learn how to express yourself even in a place where you're not comfortable at all. Yes, you may be the only woman. Guess what? You're gonna learn how to interact with a bunch of kids, men, boys, and you will get to be a CEO of a company, and you won't be scared of a table full of men, because since you were a kid, you were surrounded by boys. They mentioned that they will increase the stereotypes, and I really disagree with that. Why? If you don't have anything, how are you gonna learn that the stereotype is wrong? If you don't have a dog, and the only thing that you're learning and being teaching to is that the dog will bite you, you will be scared of the dogs every single time. How will you break that stereotype? How will you break that lesson? There's not a book that will teach you how a boy should be behaved.
What it is. So if y'all didn't know, the way I'm grading them, this is not a debate class. I'm basically just listening for, they're all thinking about the content of what they're thinking. I'm just listening for how they're saying it, the flow to their English, their grammar, their pronunciation, and all that stuff. So it's kind of like a TOEFL, you know. They'll give you questions, you have to respond about something, you're thinking about the topic. All the while they're listening to how you're saying it, choice of words, grammar, pronunciation, stuff like that. That's mostly what I'm listening for. So. Think about this, maybe, yeah, 2 minutes. Okay, you want me to cover the camera there, Christina? Yeah, you got it, yeah, sorry. Let's give her a little confidence.
So as the other team mentioned, that doesn't mean that the kids won't be with the other gender after school. Everyone have a mom, sister, neighbor that they can like socialize and know how to act with a woman. What our point and what are we defending is that single-sex schools are usually focus more on the specific needs that boys and girls need. Of course, we are different. We are constituted like as a woman and a boy, so we learn different, if we like or not to accept that. Sometimes we are also afraid to participate in class, and nobody can say that they won't be afraid at one point because one kid in the class, you like it and you're afraid to be silly in front of him. So that is what we are defending too.
There's not a bit. You want to say something else? Sure.
So, like I said, single-sex school is better for your kids educationally, like learning-wise. And socialize-wise, well, you can do it at home. There's a lot of schools there. Anything else you want to add?
You got 30 seconds, that's all right.
In addition to what my partner said, single-sex education is not, in fact, promote machismo or anything like that. Just the focus is to encourage to the student engage in activities that are better for the academic development. And for the teacher and the administrator are better get the focus with a single-sex school.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, you all have 2 minutes, make your plan, yeah, all right. Okay, here we go, 2 minutes, go ahead, yeah.
So in conclusion, the claim that single-sex education lacks strong and consistent evidence. While it may address some issues like distraction and the academic confidence, but these benefits are overstated and also achievable through a co-educational setting. The rule is not just segregated by gender, but the co-educational school can better prepare students with diverse workplaces by teaching them the mutual respect, collaboration, and communication skills. What's more, instead of separating gender, the school we should more focus on how to improve the teaching skills and promoting the inclusivity and also implementing some comprehensive the education should aim to equip all the students with the quality, with the skills, with the understanding to succeed in the future. But the co-educational school can do this more effectively and can provide all the teenager balanced, realistic, and inclusive teenager growth. Yeah, thank you.
Well, just wanted to add that we are backing up all our
And you prepared that, so I'll put that at the end. Yeah, so you're, this
No,
was,
no.
yeah, oh, there it is. right?
No.
Oh, no, don't show it. I think I ruined your case.
No, that's just in case of something. But
That's
I
true.
don't
Yeah,
want
it's important to point that out. You know, backing up with research. Maybe
Yeah.
that would persuade you one way or the other. Let's give them all a big hand, everybody. Wow. Okay. Now we're moving on to the question and answer session of our debate here. Yeah. So, by the way, during the next debate we're going to do in just a moment is about the death penalty. Yes.
Did anyone look at research about how teachers in a co-educational school, which is boys and girls together, how teachers, I've read research, how teachers call on boys more often, and how boys are often raising their hand and faster or being louder in a classroom, and that even female teachers will often call on the boys, not just male. So it's not just gender preference, but it's who's louder and quicker, getting more attention. Did you look at that research? Did you consider it for this debate?
Yeah. It sounds like you're addressing these
Yeah.
folks over here, right? Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Well,
But the sort of that study, the research was not we prefer the not use it, but the research say that the normally boys are more hyperactive, and the girls usually feels shy and not comfortable in contradiction in that, and that what they say that is additional difficulty for the teacher because they have to design. If it is difficult to understand how each person learns is matter. For example, you can learn math with examples, exercises, but she needs to learn math with manipulative or different technology to teach or method to teach. The same, or is bigger the challenge when you have to understand the why, how learn a boy, a girl, and a bunch of girls and a bunch of boys. It's
I'll let this side respond now if you want to. Do you want to say anything about what she said?
Oh, well, we did not focus our researches on the teachers. The truth is that the graphics that we show are from parents, how they evaluate the development of the kids, and the investigators that of course are teachers in a college, but they were doing this research with the high school, and they were more judging, or they were focusing their research on the child development. I'm not pretty sure about the one that you mentioned, but I did read about the educational focus to the person that, as my partner mentioned, learn with an audio, visual, and kinesthetic mode. And I saw about one high school that was trying to divide their classrooms by the test to learn how does the students learn, and they were doing that. It's the only information that I have from teachers.
Right. Anybody else want to weigh in with a
I would like to address to this. And they talk about, being prepared to the world or for the world. So here's my question. Do you consider that boys and girls, that there are some different facts that we can see in the real world? Like, for example, there are some kind of jobs that women can do. It's not that they are not mentally prepared, but the fact is that they're not physically fit to do this kind of jobs. And for men, there are some certain jobs men can do. It's not that they are not physically fit, but they are not mentally prepared. Like, for example, if you go to construction areas, you hardly find women working there. Why? Because it is a very very hard work, and you need to be physically fit to do this kind of jobs. If you go to hospitals, you can find a lot of nurses, because men are not mentally prepared. Like, they don't have that kind of patience a woman would have with people to attend people. So how can you prove, talk
Yeah.
about?
Yeah, I mean, anything.
Well, we totally understand the fact that you mentioned the physically, but the truth is that the physical development and the physical abilities won't change if you are in a classroom with just men, or with just boys, or with just girls. We are talking a little bit more about the development mentally and socially.
Yeah, we just going to prepare them for the diverse workplaces, and this just one case.
Yeah, and we know that there are works that physically can be hard for women, but in 2024, close to 2025, in almost any field you can find women and men. Maybe not the same amount, of course, because not all the women have the same strength, for example. But I think in almost any work you can find at least one from each gender. And again, this debate is more about how it affects directly the kids, but it won't affect their physical. Like, it doesn't matter if you're in a boys or girls school, you will have the same strength.
Cool. All right, I'll take one more question. Go ahead, sir. You wanted to ask
Just for
something.
their group,
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
I want to know, what do you think the boys can learn different than girls? What kind of things they can learn different, or the girls can learn different than boys?
More specific.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we don't mean that they learn different. We are like saying in our brain, but the only thing is that sometimes boys are like focused more on certain things than girls, and sometimes girls need like more time for some things, and yeah, some things like that.
You mean like distraction, I think is what you were referring to? Okay, gotcha. Okay.
In fact, all of us learn in a different way. Boys, girls, men, women, all of us learn in a different way. For example, I have partners that they understand something about math or geometry, needs different explanation than other ones. And you can say, no, look at this, this, and this. Ah, I catch it. The other person, it doesn't matter the gender. The other person needs a different explanation, a different approach. So the point is way, girls and boys are different, have different interests, have different behavior, are different. And between a group of girls and a group of boys, there are different ways to learn. In fact, the society developed by roles. You can learn a book that is called How the World Made the Change to the Mono gorilla
Monkey.
to men. How the world aborigines were men in the men and women in the world begins to need do a lot of things to survive. They decide just for instinct, separate the roles. The man is going to hunt, the woman is going to
Okay, I'm gonna let Esmeralda ask to say something real quick, and then we're gonna wrap it up and go on to the next one. Okay, go ahead.
I think you did a great question, and my answer is nothing.
Okay.
There's nothing a boy can learn that a girl can. There's nothing that they should learn apart. Both of them have the same ability and capacity
That's the word.
to learn the same things. Thank
All
you.
right, cool. Real fast, go ahead, I got it.
The thing is that the limitation of boundaries. So you are competing with the boys, how will make you feel? That's the problems that we put in the single-sex schools. Because your kids is competing with the boys, which make them discouraged learning something different.
But you're focusing all your attention to the physical things.
Yeah.
In
Well,
the
mentally as well.
mentally thing, we both have the same
So what if
capacity.
your girls want to be
And
basketball
the
players?
boundaries, you have to learn to set boundaries. You won't do it if you don't have to set boundaries.
Okay, so by the way, everybody, you probably didn't know this, but the team Agree, they got put into this team randomly. What happened like a week ago? They pulled out a piece of paper and they said, oh, man, that's what happened. So, I'm just curious, did you, were you put into the team that you personally agree with?
Yeah.
No, you more or less agree with Coach.
I'm very disagree with this. Just like Boomerang, he has to do the opposites, and I'm like, I know what my point is gonna be very weak because I'm already disappointed with it. So my strategy to do, instead of doing support of this one, I'll be talking bad about the other one.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that's my strategy. So instead of supporting this one, talk bad about the other one.
This whole team had a big challenge because they're trying to argue against something that they personally disagree with, which I love. Yeah, yeah. I'm just curious, Jolene, were you put into the team that you agree with, more or less, co-educational? Yeah, more or less. Okay, and I could tell very passionate,
For me, it was really
making an appeal. It is easier. I think everybody understood. Yeah, the points. Okay, yeah. So I'll give them a big hand, everybody. By the way, take your surveys here, if you don't mind, if make the improvement here. I don't know if you all want to stick around for the next one or you want to leave. No problem. Great. Sounds fine. That's fine. Yeah, you can okay. Drop your surveys in here and yes, thanks guys. They're gonna go out and fun. Thanks for coming and visiting. See y'all. Perfect.
Thank you.
Great comment too. Yeah, that's true. Oh, you did?
Bye. Thank you for coming. But today is like me. I love your strategy. I agree with you.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. Oh, wait, wait, yeah. Yeah.
Good luck.
All right. Here, let's stop the live stream and make a new live stream, y'all. We're almost to the very end, y'all.